Okay, hello students.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello students of
Hello,
University of
ma'am.
National High School of Rizal Extension. So everyone, kindly settle down so we can start our online class for the third quarter. Settle down. Okay. So now let's start our day with a prayer.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the gift of life today. You allow us to have another day to praise you and see your glory. Thank you for the love and protection, especially this time of pandemic. Bless us, Father, with your wisdom as we begin our class. Help us to focus our hearts and minds on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit as we think and listen. Guide us by your eternal light as we discover more about the world around us. Lord, we thank you and let your will be done in our lives. We ask all this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay, good morning students.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Okay, we are on a third quarter, and yes, we made this far. So today, you are going to join me in our topic in English 7 quarter 3 module 1, which is the sequencing and narrating events in personal or factual recounts. But before that, let's have here our reminders, our classroom Zoom rules. So, number one, show up a few minutes before the class time and wait to be admitted into the class. Second, find a quiet place free of distraction. Your siblings, the televisions, or parents, or even pets. Number three, be respectful at all times. While your video is on, no hand gestures and inappropriate language. And the fourth one is stay on mute. Click the raise hand button if you have a question or something to share. And the last one, stay focused. So now, in the previous lesson class, we are able to learn a lot of information that would enhance your skills and communicative competence. Also, as a young adult, you are able to successfully thrive in every changing in the society by learning how to understand, accept, and value diverse background. So in this lesson, you will be learning another important skills. It will encourage you to use appropriate multimedia resources when orally giving an information, instruction, making explanation, narrating events in personal or factual recounts. In this class, you'll be accomplishing series of exercises to help you strengthen your knowledge in using multimedia resources in narrating and sequencing events. So after going through this lesson, you are expected to, number one, narrate events in personal or factual recount. I arrange the events in the text read using multimedia resources. So now, before we proceed, let's have our warm-up activity. You are going to arrange the steps in preparing a presentation. So write your answer on a chat box. So as you can see, we have our chat box in Zoom. You can write your answer and then you are going to arrange the steps in preparing a presentation. So here are the lists of preparing a presentation. Select a topic, analyze your audience, prepare the body of presentation, define the objectives of the lesson, prepare the introduction and conclusion, and the last one is practice delivering the presentation. So I'll give you 30 seconds 30 seconds to answer the first task. Okay, time's up, students. So thank you for your cooperation. So we will check later if all your answers are correct. So in task 2, you are going to write the correct answer on the chat box. So I'll give you the question, then you are going to write your answer here in our chat box. So as you can see, we already have our attendance in our chat box. So write the correct answer for the test 2. Number 1, it refers to the resources that combine multiple media format like text, still images, audio, animation, and video interactively. A. Multimedia resources. B. Internet resources. C. Primary resources. Or D. Secondary resources. Again, I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. Then we will check if your answers are all correct. You are going to write your answers on the chat box and I will read one by one who are the students who participated in the activity. Okay, your time starts now. Okay, so Elizabeth, John Mark, Julia, May answered letter A. So let's check if all your answers are correct. Okay, number 1, the answer is multimedia resources. Very good, students. How about number 2? Which of the following is the benefit of using multimedia resources? A. It provides deeper understanding. B. It gives access to wide array of information. C. It increases positive emotion. Or D. All of the above. Okay. So let's check. Okay. Julia answer letter D. May and Balu. May answer letter D. John Mark letter B. So let's check if your answers are all correct. So the answer is letter D. All of the above. Number 3. Which component of multimedia resources is considered as the oldest form of media? A. Text materials. B. Photographs and other still images. C. Audio files. Or D. Video presentation. Okay, so let's check. Jilia, John Mark, Doraline, John Lloyd, Elizabeth. Your answer is letter A, so let's check. Okay, the correct answer is text materials. Very good. Last number. Which component of multimedia resources refers to moving pictures and typically combining images and sound for compelling multimedia experience? A. Text materials. B. Photographs and other still images. C. Audio files. And D. Video presentation. Again, kindly mute your microphone. If you have questions, clarification, just raise your hand. Okay. So what is your answer? Elizabeth, letter D. Julia, letter D. Nicole Pandakan, letter D. Elizabeth Bernadette Ante, letter D. Okay, so let's check if your answers are all correct. Okay, very good. The answer is letter D. Who got 4? Okay, Julia, Elizabeth. Okay, very good. Okay, so Now that you are already gained familiarity with some terminologies which are related to multimedia resources, and you have tried to arrange a simple steps in preparing a presentation, now we are going to match courtroom personnel in column A with the synonyms in the column B and with the dictionary meaning in column C. This will help you to unlock difficult and unfamiliar words. So here is our column. The column A, you are going to find the synonyms here in column B, and then you are going to find the dictionary meaning in column C. So in the first column, we have number one, the judge. Number two, secretary. Number three, complainant. Number four, defendant. Number five is stenographer. And in the column B, we have here A, accuser. B, transcriber. C, mediator. D, clerk. And E, offender. Your time starts now. Okay, so let's check if your answers are all correct. Number one, what is your answer? Okay, kindly write your answer on the chat box. Number one. Anyone? Okay, Jaya Ambrosio, letter C. How about the others? What is your answer, number one? Bernadette Ante, letter E. The judge is the offender. Are you sure? How about the others? John Lloyd Baloyot, letter D. The judge is the clerk. John Mark Ote, the judge is the accuser. Okay, Kate, letter D. May, letter B. The transcriber. Okay, so let's check what is the correct answer in number one. Okay, number one, the correct answer is letter C, the mediator. Who got the correct answer? Let's see. Okay, Jaya Ambrosio got the correct answer. Number two, secretary. Bernadette Ante, letter B. Okay. John Mark Ote, letter B. May Auyan, letter B. Kate, letter A. Elizabeth Gulani, letter B. So we got 5 students who answered letter B. So secretary is the transcriber. Very good. The synonyms of the secretary is transcriber. Now, number 3. Write your answer on the chat box. Complainant. What is your answer? Complainant. Okay, J. Ambrosio, letter A. John Lloyd Baluyot, letter A. John Mark Ote, letter A. Okay, let's check if your answers are all correct. Complainant, letter A. Next, defendant. Okay. John Mark Ote, letter E. John Lloyd Baluyot, letter D. Bernadette, letter D. Doralyn, letter E. Jaya, letter E. So let's check if your answers are correct. Defendant is the offender. Okay, last one, the stenographer. What is your answer? Okay, Elizabeth, letter D. Okay, Doralyn. So the answer is clerk. So now you are going to find the dictionary meaning of the word. Or letter A, the accuser. What is the dictionary meaning of the accuser? Okay, Jaya Ambrosio, 4. May Auyan, 5. John Lloyd, 1. Bernadette, 4. Okay, so let's check. Accuser is number 4. A person who makes formal complaint in a law court that they have been harmed by someone else. That is the accuser. Next, transcriber. What is the dictionary meaning of the transcriber? Kindly write your answer on the chat box. Shanes Baluyot, 1. J. Ambrosio, 3. May, 1. John Mark, 1. Kate, 1. Rona May, 1. Doralyn Baluyot, 1. So let's check. Transcriber is. Okay, transcriber, let's check. The answer is 1. Very good. Letter C, mediator. John Lloyd Ote Baluyot, 5. Shanes, 5. Elizabeth, 5. John Mark Ote, 5. May, 2. How about the others? Doralyn Baloyot, 5. So let's check if your answers are correct. Okay, mediator is a person who is in charge of a court of law. Letter D, clerk. What is the dictionary meaning of clerk? Okay, John Lloyd Baloyot, 3. Shanes, 3. Okay, 3, 3. So let's check. Clerk is number 3. A person who does shorthand in an office or record speech using a special machine in a court. The last one, offender. The offender is the person in a court of law who is accused of having done something wrong. So who got the correct answer? Kindly write the scores. Kindly write the scores in the chat box. Okay. Who got 10? 10. Okay. Irish Joy. Okay, very good students. So now let's have our reading activity. So I want you to read The Story of My Father Goes to Court by Carlos Bulusan. I will call one by one to read the story of My Father Goes to Court. Then you are going to answer the 5 questions that I prepared for you. So the story is an example of a narrative story. It pertains to a particular accounts of events, experiences, and details. So as a reader, it is important for you to identify, again, as a reader, it is important for you to identify the sequence of the stories. Then you are going to organize the story into 3 sections, the beginning, middle, and the end. So now, let's start reading the story. Okay, let's start. May I call Rona May Bagay? Rona May Bagay to read the story of My Father's Goes to Court.
My father goes to court. When I was 4, with my mother in a small town on the island of Luzon. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 by one of our sudden Philippine floods. So several years afterwards, we all lived in that town.
Okay, so when I was 4, I lived with my mother and brothers and sister in a small town on the island of Luzon. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 by one of our sudden Philippine floods. So several years afterwards, we all live in a town too, though he preferred living in the country. Next paragraph, kindly read.
My father goes to car. We had as a next door neighbor a very rich man whose son and daughter seldom came out of the house while we boys and girls play and sang in the sun. His children stay inside a cave. The windows closed. His house was tall that his children would look in the window of our house and watch our play or sleep or when there was any food in the house to eat.
Okay, very good.
Now this rich man servant were always flying and cooking something good, and the aroma of the softened in begins.
Okay, next, kindly read. Kindly read, John Mark.
Sometimes in the morning, our whole family stood outside the windows of the rich man's house and listened to the musical sizzling of thick strip of a bacon or ham. I can remember one afternoon when our neighbor's servants roasted 3 chickens.
Okay, next, kindly read Bernadette.
My father goes to court. The chickens were young and tender, and the pot that dripped into the burning coals gave off an enchanting odor. We watched the servants turn the beautiful birds and inhaled the heavenly spirit that drifted out to us.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read Jilia.
Some days the rich man appeared at a window and glowered down at us. He looked at us one by one as though he were condemning us. We were all healthy because we went out in the sun and bathed in the cool water of the river that flowed from the mountains into the sea.
Okay, next, kindly read. Okay, Doralyn Baluyot.
Sometimes
Mm-mm.
Sometimes we wrestled with one another in the house before we went to play. We were always in the best of spirits and our laughter was contagious. Other neighbors who passed by our house often stopped in our yard and joined us in laughter.
Kindly read Irish Joy Agwan.
As time went on, the rich man's children became then an anemic while we grew even more robust and full of life. Our face were bright and rosy, but theirs were pale and sad. The rich man started to cut at night, then he cut calf the day and night.
Okay,
His
okay, continue.
his wife began coughing to then the children start to cough one after the other.
Okay, next, kindly read Kate.
Master counting sounded like the buzzing heard of filthy hung outside their windows and let's listen to them. We wondered what happened. We knew that they were not sick from the lack of nourishment because they were still always trying something delicious to eat.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read Jaya Ambrosio.
One day the rich man appeared at the windows and stood there long time. He looked at my sisters who had grown fat in laughing, then at my brothers whose arms and legs were like the mulave, which is the sturdy tree. The Philippines, he down the window and ran through his house, shut windows.
Okay, next, kindly read. Okay, Bernadette Ante, kindly read.
From that day on, the windows of our neighbor's house were always closed. The children did not come out anymore. We could still hear the servants cooking in the kitchen, and no matter how tight the windows were shut, the aroma of the food came to us in the wind and drifted.
Okay, next, kindly read Janmark Ote.
One morning, a policeman from the Presidencia came to our house in a sealed paper. The rich man had filed a complaint against us. Father took me with him when he went to the town clerk and asked him what this was about. He told father the man claimed that for years we had been stealing the spirit of his wealth and food.
Okay, next, kindly read Shanes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When the day came for us to appear in court, Father brushed his old army uniform and borrowed a pair of shoes from one of my brothers. We were the first to arrive. Father sat on a chair in the center of the courtroom. Mother occupied a chair by the door. We children sat on a long bench by the wall. Father kept jumping up from his chair and stabbing the air with his arm as though we were defending himself before an imaginary jury.
Okay, very good. Next, May Elyan.
The rich man arrived. He had grown old. The
quibble. His face was scarred with deep lines. With him was his young lawyer. Spectators came and almost the cheers. The judge entered the room and sat on high chair. We stood in a hurry and then sat down again.
Okay, next, kindly read. JIS.
After the courtroom, look at father. Do you have a lawyer? He has. I don't need any lawyer, judge. He said. Proceed, said the judge.
Okay, very good. Kindly read next. Okay, Jaya. Jaya is raising her hand. Kindly read, Jaya.
The rich man's lawyer jumped up and pointed his finger at father. Do you or you do not agree that you have been sealing the spirit of the complaints, wealth, and food? I do not, father said.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read, Doraline Baluyot.
Do you or do you want agree that
Do you or do you not?
while the complainant servants cook and fried fat legs of lamb or young chicken breast, and you and your family hung outside his windows and inhaled the heavenly spirit of food? I agree, father said.
Okay, next. Kindly read, Jilia. Kindly read.
Do you or do you not agree that while the complainant and his children grew sickly and tubercular, you and your family became strong and fair in complexion? I agree, father said. How do you account for that?
Okay. Next, kindly read, John Lloyd Baluyot.
Father got up and paced around, scratching his head thoughtfully. Then he said, I would like to see the children of complainant judge. Bring in the children of the complainant.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read, John Mark Ote.
They came in shyly. The spectators covered their mouths with their hands. They were so amazed to see the children so thin and pale. The children walked silently to a bench and sat down without looking up. They stared at the floor and moved their hands uneasily.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read, Rona May Bagay.
Father could not say anything at first. He just stood by this chair and looked at them. Finally, he said, I should like to cross-examine the complaint.
What? Kindly read this word. Huh?
Look,
Okay, look. How about this word?
look.
This one. How are you going to read this one?
Examine.
No, kindly read this one. Jaya?
Examine.
Okay. This is not examine. Examine. Okay, next. Kindly read. Jilia.
Mia, ayaw po.
Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your wealth and became a laughing family while yours became morose and sad? Father said, yes. Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your food by hanging outside your windows when your servants cook it? Father said, yes.
Okay, next. Kindly read. Ah, yes. Shanes.
Then we are going to pay you right now, father said. He walked over to where children were sitting on the bench and took my chair, had it up and filled it up centavo pieces that he took out of his pocket. He went to mother, who added a fistful of silver coins. My brothers threw in their small change.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read Kaitom.
May I walk to the room across the hall and stay there for a few minutes, Judge Father said, as you wish. To the other room with the hat in his hand. It was almost full of coins. The doors of both rooms were
wide open. Are you ready, Father called? Proceed, the judge said.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read. Okay. JIS.
The sweet tinkle of the coin carried beautifully in the courtroom. The spectator turned their face toward the sound. With wonder, father come back and stood before the complaint. Did you hear it? They asked. He what? The man asked. The spirit of the money when I the hat. They asked. Yes.
Okay, very good. Next, Miss Arlene Baloy.
Then you are paid, father said. The rich man opened his mouth to speak tell, and fell to the floor without a sound. The lawyer rushed to his aid. The judge pounded. Case dismissed, he said.
Okay, very good. Next, kindly read. Danica.
From the judge's event came down from his height, chair to share hands with him. By the way, he whispered, I had an uncle who died
Who died?
vanishing. You like to hear mass? Why not? Did you hear the children father said?
Okay, next. Okay, Bernadette Ante, kindly read.
Yes, ma'am. My sister started it. The rest of us followed them soon. The spectators were laughing with us, holding their bellies and bending over the chairs. And the laughter of the judge was the loudest of all.
Okay, so the end. A question. What happened in the story? Shanes Baluyot. Shanes Baluyot Ayes. What happened to the story? You're raising your hand.
The story the story is set in a city in the Philippines. The young narrator begins by describing his large family. Through through they are full of misket and laughter. The children are all strong and healthy, even though they after go hungry.
Okay, so the story starts in a small town in island of Luzon. The rich family cook foods and the poor family smell the aroma of the food. Then the day came, the rich man filed a case to the father of the poor kids or poor children. So, as you can observe, class, the story starts in introducing the character of the story as well as the setting. So, it described the character of the story and the place where the story happened. So, they also tell the problem of the story and how the problem was resolved. Questions? Clarification? Okay, so let's proceed to the questions. So answer the following question. You can write your answers on the chat box. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10 seconds to answer. Number 1. What happens at the beginning of the story? What happened at the beginning of the story? Again, you can write your answers on the chat box. I will read your answer later. Doralyn Baluyot, the beginning of the story is there was a family that lived in a small town in the island of Luzon. Okay. Shanes, the story is set in a city in the Philippines. The young narrator begins in describing his large family. How about number 2? What happened in the middle of the story? Write your answer in the chat box so that I can read your answer later. Then we will check if your answers are all correct. The rich family filed a complaint against the poor family after many moments they found themselves in the court. Okay, Julia. How about the others? Okay, so the day came that the rich man filed a case to the father that he always stealing the spirit of food and wealth. So very good. Though they end up in the court with their family, they wait for the jury to judge them. Very good. The father had no attorney, but the rich man had. The family always agrees to all questions that they always smell the aroma of the food. Okay, the father agree that he smell the aroma of the food. How about the next question? What happened at the end of the story? Kindly answer on the chat box. What happened at the end of the story? The story ends with a judge dismissing the case. Okay, very good. Number 4. Kindly answer. If you were the father, would you do the same? Yes. Okay, Jaya Ambrosio answered yes. Kindly explain your answer. You can turn on your mic or write your answers on the chat box. So you answer yes. Yes, because I will teach them a good manners and how to respect the elders and teach what is good and bad things, and I will support them all the time. Okay, very good. Yes, Janmark Ote, to defend myself because we are not stolen the literal food but the spirit only. Okay, very good, Janmark. Okay, Bernadette, yes, because that's my children and I will support and protect them. Okay, very good. Okay, next question. Why did the judge dismiss the case? Okay, John Mark Ote, because the father had already paid the stolen wealth. Okay, very good. Jilia, the judge dismissed the case since the poor man had already paid. Okay, very good. Who got 5? Who got 5? Kindly put your scores on the chat box. Okay, John Mark Ote got 5. Very good. JIS got 4. Very good. Elizabeth Golani got 3. Very good. So now, let's discuss who is Carlos Bulusan. Carlos Bulusan is the author of My Father Goes to Court. So kindly read Irish Agwan. Who is Carlos Bulusan?
Birth date November 2, 1911. Birthplace Binalona, Pangasinan. Dead September
Died
11,
on
19 died September 11, 1956. He is the author of My Father Goes to Court. He was an English language Filipino novelist and poet who spent most of his life in the United States.
Okay, so here is the history of the author of the My Father Goes to Court. He was an English language Filipino novelist and poet who spent most of his life in the United States. So now the story of My Father Goes to Court is all about narration. Let's define what narration is. So narration, kindly read May Aoyan.
It is the use of written or spoken commentary to convey a story to an audience. It is also conveyed by narrator, a specific person and specific literary voice developed by the creator of the story to deliver information to the audience, particularly about the plot.
Okay, very good. So narration class, you are able to arrange and narrate the story well by identifying the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So as you can remember, a while ago, after reading the story of My Father Goes to Court, we are able to define the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So the beginning of the story class usually introduces the main characters, setting, and the problem faced by our purpose of the characters. We introduce the character, the setting, and the problem faced by or purpose of the character. So the middle part of the story usually focus on the characters as they try to solve the problem by going to the court. So the end of the story focus on how the problem is resolved or the end of the character's journey. So how to narrate or sequence more effectively. So one way to use appropriate multimedia resources, a multimedia resources class are characterized by the presence of text, picture, sound, animation, and video. Some or all of which are organized into some coherent program, and that is according to Philip 1997. So according to the several researchers, the use of multimedia resources in learning offers a lot of benefit, such as number one, kindly read John Lloyd Baluyot.
It helped learners gain deeper understanding of the lesson.
Okay, it helped learners to gain deeper understanding of the lesson. So that is another benefit of multimedia resources. The second one, kindly read Bernadette Ante.
It enhanced problem-solving skills.
Okay, enhance your problem solving skills. Number three, it nurtures positivity in learning. Number four, it serves as an avenue to gain various information. And the last one, it allows the world exploration. Okay, in using multimedia resources in narrating events, the presentation of your narrative should consist at least two, and perhaps all of these five of the following. Number one, that is the text materials, photographs and other still images, audio files, video presentation, and the last one is GIF and other forms of animations. So these are the types of communication using in multimedia resources. So any questions about this? So now let's go back to the first task that we tackled a while ago. So we are going to check if your answers are all correct. You are going to arrange the steps in preparing presentation. Write your answer on the diagram given. So you are going to identify the steps in preparing a presentation and then write your answers on the chat box. Ready? Okay, let's check. So later you are going to write your scores on the chat box. So step one is analyze your audience. Step two, select a topic. Step three, define the objectives of the presentation. Step 4, prepare the body of the presentation. Step 5, prepare the introduction and the conclusion. And the last one is practice delivering the presentation. Okay, who got 6? Kindly write your scores on the chat box. Okay, John Mark got 4 out of 6. How about the others? Bernadette 4, Shanes 4, Julia 4, May 4. Okay, so job well done, students. You're able to arrange some steps in preparing a presentation. It will help you to your assignment later. You're going to arrange or you're going to make your own presentation. Okay, so now let's proceed to task 6, which is the sequence of events chart. So we have here the sequence of events chart. So you will summarize the story of My Father Goes to Court by accomplishing the chart on the slides. Combine text and drawings in summarizing the story. So here is the sequence of events chart. So again, you are going to summarize, identify the beginning, the middle, and the end of the My Father Goes to Court. So you are going to combine text, pwede text, or drawing in summarizing the stories. So I will give you 1 minute to answer the task. Then later on, you are going to send your answer on my messenger. Pwede ninyo siya i-type using your WPS, or you're going to write a chart in your paper and then capture it, then you can send it into my messenger and we will check later if all your answers are correct. So I'll give you 1 minute to answer this one. So are you all ready? Okay, time's up. There are four students who submitted their output. So now let's check. There are, okay, 5 students who submitted their output. How about the others? Okay, so let's check. So what is the beginning of the story? Kindly read. What is your answer, Jilia?
Beginning of the story is there was a family that lived in a small town on the island of Luzon. Their fathers from farm had been destroyed in 1898 by one of the Philippine flood. So several years afterwards, they all live in town.
Okay, very good, Jilia. So it introduces the setting and character of the stories. How about the middle? Okay, kindly read your answer. Janmark Ote.
Okay, ma'am. The rich man had filed a case to the court because the poor family had stolen the spirit of the food of the rich family.
The ending of the story. Doralyn Baloyot.
The story ends with the judge dismissing the case.
Okay, so later I will check your paper. Again, you're going to sequence or you're going to summarize the story. My father goes to court by accomplishing the chart below. So combine text and drawing. So now, for the next activity, you are going to draw a sequence of events in cooking adobong manok. So I know some of you know how to cook adobo baron, pinirito baron, to draw a sequence unsay mga steps in cooking adobong manok. So here is event 1, event 2, event 3, event 4. Again, you are going to narrate how to cook adobong manok. Okay? I'll give you chance to answer the next task. Write your answer on the chat box. Event 1, Event 2, Event 3, Event 4. We're almost done, so you can post your answers on the chat box. Okay, very good. Elizabeth, Shanes, Jan Lloyd, Bernadette already sent their answers. How about the others? Okay, let's see if your answers are correct. You can send your output to my messenger account. You can picture or capture your answer, then send it to me. Ready? Okay. Kindly read your answer, Jilia. The event 1 to event 4. Since you already submitted your output, kindly read your answer.
Event 1, heat oil in pan and salt, garlic, and onions. Then add chicken to the pan and sear on all sides until you have a little browning in the chicken skin. The event 2, pour in vinegar, soy sauce, and water, and bay leaves, pepper, and nor chicken cubes. Bring to a boil over high heat, then reduce heat to simmer, but do not cover the pan. Continue to simmer for 10 minutes. Event 3, remove the chicken pieces from sauce and fry in another pan until nicely brown. And event 4, put back fried chicken pieces into sauce, add sugar, and let simmer again for another 10 minutes or until sauce has thickened and serve warm.
Okay, very good. Again, you can submit your answer on my messenger and I will check it later. So any questions, clarification? So narrate events in personal or factual recount by narrating the beginning, middle, and end of the story of my father goes to court. And then you are able to arrange the event in the text reading using multimedia resources. So as you can remember, you add text, drawing, summary, or the sequence of events chart in the my father goes to court. So now, any question, clarification. Okay, wala. So ako mag-question. Janmark Ote. Janmark
Yes, ma'am.
Ote, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
What have you learned in our topic?
I learned how to summarize or
Mm-mm.
identify the events of the story or paragraph. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Irish, kindly give the summary of the lesson. Okay, go. Jilia.
Ma'am, my answer is from the multimodal text, how to use it and
Mm-mm.
what types of multimodal text and how to sequence
Or
uh,
narrate.
or narrate a story.
Okay, very good. How about John Mark Ote? Do you have
Yes,
something
ma'am.
to say?
We need to there was many things that can event should be using multimedia platforms like that, and
Mm-mm.
there's text, and also we need to know how to
Mm-mm.
identify the events from the beginning, climax, and also the ending.
Okay, very good. All your answers are correct. Congratulations. So now, before we finally end our online class today, here is our assignment. Okay, to those who have cell phones and internet connection, I know you have cell phones and internet connection. Narrate the things that you have done during Christmas season ruined by the coronavirus pandemic through video blog. So, mag-video blog mo. Then, post it in your TikTok account and send it to my messenger. Sa link sa inyong TikTok account ha. And then, here is our rubric in your project or in your assignment. So idea, speech, and content will be checked. And to those who don't have cell phones or internet, narrate the things that you have done during Christmas season ruined by the coronavirus pandemic and write the answer on the piece of paper. So here is our content, our criteria. The sentence structure, grammar, mechanics, and spelling will be checked. And the content and relevance will be checked also. Question, clarification? Okay, congratulations, students. If we made this far, we are already done in our online class. Congratulations. Thank you, students. Then again, announcement. Submit your output today. Thank you, students. Goodbye.